Hey, everybody, Jim Cummings here. And if Tigger were here, he'd say, thanks, everybody, for bouncing on in here and enjoying the show. But before we go, I want you to do me a small favor. Hit like, subscribe, and give us a thumbs up if you're enjoying the show. Now, speaking of enjoying the show, enjoy the show.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Toon'd In with Jim Cummings. I am producer Chris, joined as always by the legend himself, Mr. Jim Cummings. How are you doing today, sir?
Well, very good. Very excited. Very excited about our guest. Drum roll, please. Tell the people what they know.
Deep Roy is our guest today. Thank you very much for being here. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, of course.
Great to see you. I almost didn't recognize you without a big, long line of people in front of you going, me next.
Well, thank you for that. It's likewise. Likewise.
Well, we have the people coming in soon, so just to make it more natural. No, we don't. But I'm glad you're here. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it wasn't a big drive for you today.
It was okay. Traffic was nightmare, but as usual, 6 lanes. The driver was in and out, this and that, asking me a lot of questions, and I said, it's all good.
Yeah.
So it was all good.
Yeah, well, it's, we can't start till you get here anyway. So you got that going for you. Well, again, thank you for being here. I appreciate that.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
But are you keeping busy these days? Is it lots of fan mail, lots of conventions?
Well, I've done
appearances.
Last time I saw you guys were in Houston, and after that, I just done one. Normally, I don't ask people, hey, can I have a convention or all that? I've never asked anyone, if I can do conventions. If people approach me, the agents and all that, I'll do it. If not, it's all good.
Sure.
Yeah.
And same as far as work is concerned, I don't chase people. I haven't done that for a long time.
Yeah.
Normally I don't.
Do you find that, I've always believed, like, especially in the entertainment industry, that almost when you let go, like how you're saying you're not chasing, even like with auditions, and you bring that energy into the room, when you want something so bad and it almost seems desperate is the closest word I can think of.
Yeah.
Do you feel the success kind of comes when you let go of that desperation almost?
That neediness, yeah.
The thing is, it's not about success. Like I said to you, success can't be measured. It's the respect that counts. What's a success? That's the reason it can't be measured. Your mind says more. Your heart says no. It's about contentment. And I'm very content at the moment. If things happen. If they don't, they don't. But I'm sure something will happen.
Yeah. That's a great philosophy.
Yeah, that's not, absolutely.
Because you're right. Success is subjective, To some people, success is, having a bunch of kids and a family and a loving family. And, other people measure it monetarily or, milestones in a career or whatnot. It's very subjective to what success really is.
Of course it is, Don't get me wrong. I want to do even more. I want to produce. I've got a lot of ideas which I want to do.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm sure it'll happen.
Are you a writer as well then?
No, I've got friends that write for me the ideas and all that. I've developed some screenplays and the scripts and everything, and I've written few commercials as well, my ideas of commercials, and one has to create something for oneself, and if don't, it ain't going to happen. Writers have tendency to write for average guys. Average means, I'm average too, but then again, they got a tendency to write for like 5'7", 5'8", 10, and they're for few jobs for a person like me. But then again, I've done what I need to do, and like I said to you, and things will happen. I'm absolutely positive that things will happen.
Yeah.
I'm
That's
curious.
very true.
Yeah, I'm curious about your experience in the film industry. Like you mentioned, obviously there's different roles and different opportunities for a man of your stature, and like not to compare the two, but I think of another great actor, Peter Dinklage. He dealt with some of the similar struggles. How has that been in your journey? The entertainment industry is such a physically. We've talked about it so many times. Like, too tall, too handsome, too ugly, too short, too dark, too white, all these different factors. What's your journey been like that in the entertainment industry?
It's been tough, when I started in stand-up comedy in London.
Okay.
Oh, really?
That's how I started. My father wanted me to be an accountant. I was studying accountancy because he was a pretty successful business person in Africa. And I was studying accountancy in London. And I kept failing in taxation. I'll pass taxation, I'll fail in company law. So that was boring for me. I was pushed into that. And I gave that up. I joined drama school. 3 months later, I quit drama school. And my dad said to me, now what? I said, I want to be a comedian. He said, it's a joke. So that's how I started.
Yes, that's exactly right. It's a joke. Yeah.
So that's how I started. I met the managers, the agents, and things started happening. My first feature I did was in 1975 with Peter Sellers.
Wow.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Pink Panther Strikes Again. Blake Edwards, and
Wow.
what a way to start.
What a way to
and,
start.
Exactly.
And
then
you start
I did,
at the top, huh?
Yeah, then I did New Avengers, one episode, and I did Doctor Who the whole season, and things started happening.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
Is that when you felt like that's when you arrived? I always use the term arrived, like in the industry, because, myself included, you go through ups and downs in the entertainment industry, and then I feel like there's a point where it's the industry trusts you, if that makes sense. We're like, we can count on that guy. Is that when
Of course
when you
it
quote,
does.
made it?
Of course they do, but like I said to you, showbiz, everybody wants to be an actor or an actress. Good luck to everyone, and there are like 20,000 people chasing for one job. It's a tough industry. It is.
Oh, yeah.
It still is going to get tougher because of what's happening with AI thing and all that. It's all going to disappear, and there won't be, like you asked me, what was like. Of course it was a struggle to start with.
Well,
but
if it's worth it, it's worth the effort. It's worth the struggle.
Of course it is, like you mentioned, 6 feet tall, 3 feet tall, 4 feet tall, but then again, there are far few jobs that the writers tend to write. And I know I said that before to you, but then again, you got to make your own, stuff.
Yeah. You were saying Peter Dinklage. It seems like he takes roles that don't have anything to do with stature or height or anything like that. I just saw him recently in that, what was that one with where he was the manager of a Kmart with, oh God, I can't think of his name. Anyway.
Maybe it was Walmart.
What's that? I don't know. But, and then, of course, he was not Snidely Whiplash, but an underdog, Simon Bar Sinister.
Yeah.
He played a villain, and he was awesome, and it had nothing to do with his height. And so it seems like today, things are much looser.
Of course they are.
Yeah, right?
Of course
Good.
they are. Yes, they are. Yes, yeah.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Well, you could take a little credit for that in there too, right? Oompa Loompa, Oompa Boom Boom.
Well, that happened through Tim Burton. Done 4 movies with him.
Yeah.
I met him in 2001 when I did Planet of the Apes with him. Actually, Rick Baker won Academy Awards for the special effects and
I
makeup.
couldn't believe it.
Special effects makeup and all that. That's he introduced me to Tim. And the first thing Tim asked, can you walk like an ape? I said, of course I can walk like an ape, because I did a Hugh Hudson movie, Tarzan.
Oh yeah.
with Christopher Lambert before that. That's 1983.
So when you
Wow.
were doing, did they use the prosthetics? I know in the new ones
Yeah,
they
but
use
then
like
again,
those stilts.
exactly. They got the stilts. You got to walk because the apes got, they coordinate. You got to,
Yeah.
the apes walk like diagonally. Yeah, so.
So the first time you were asked to do that, how do you prepare for that?
Well, but you see, with training, we were in training when we did the Tarzan movie. That was in London.
Yeah.
And we were training for like 3 months.
Wow.
To
Really?
walk like apes, yeah.
Wow.
To behave like apes, to do all that stuff,
That must have been a fun experience.
Well, it is, apes are very clever, and they do, they got a good memory. Apes do that, So
So when you're training for that for those 3 months, are you also like observing apes? Like, do you go to like a zoo or National Geographic or what?
no, they
Yeah.
mainly the coach who trained was like Peter Elliott, and he's done that. He studied all the apes and all that. He was the one, and we watched some movies and all that stuff, and then that was an experience that I haven't forgotten. It's still there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And coming back to Tim, that's when I did Planet of the Apes with him, and then I did Big Fish, and then he asked me to do Charlie, and I did voiceover for Corpse Bride and all that stuff, So
Oh,
Wow, that's so cool. Big Fish was such a great movie.
that was a really good
Big
movie.
Fish was, yes, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that was a really underrated movie.
It was very, very, it wasn't like, I was surprised that Tim did that movie because it was pretty dark. Tim does dark movies because he's just lost his dad. And it was like, Spielberg turned it down. I didn't know what happened there, That's from Bruce, the producer. That's what I understood from him, And then out come Tim to do, it was a book, it was a Sony Pictures. And that was 2003.
Yeah.
So
Wow,
it was a great movie.
Yeah.
It was a good movie.
I always describe it as like the fantasy Forrest Gump. It's almost like the fantasy version of Forrest Gump. That's what I think of it as.
Yes, yeah.
And I love
Yeah.
it. I mean, Forrest Gump's one of my favorite. Big Fish is one of my favorite movies. I love that movie.
Yeah, me too. That's really cool.
What's Tim Burton like in person?
He's such a nice guy, he has got a vision. He knows what he wants. He doesn't do that many takes.
Yeah.
All he says to me, I got this, I want you to do something different. So when he goes to the editing room, that he's got a couple of versions to do. And he doesn't shoot that much. I remember his editor, Chris Levinson, that I worked, all the Tim Burton movies. He used to say to Tim, I don't think so, we got so much coverage. He said, no, I know we have.
Yeah.
And Chris said to me, he's one of the easiest director to work with.
Wow.
He doesn't shoot that much.
Wow.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah, so,
Wow. Well, he knows what he wants, right?
yeah,
That helps.
he does, he's got always well-prepared notes, and he never asks his DP, he always asks his camera operator, when he sets the camera, what do you think?
Interesting.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Interesting.
Collaborative process.
yeah. So,
That's very nice. Who do you have a favorite director, or top three? That way,
well, for me, the number one would be Tim.
yeah,
I love J.J. Abrams. Amazing.
Yeah.
Worked with him. Such a, worked with Michael Bay, another great director. The one that I missed, haven't worked with, Clint Eastwood.
Oh,
He's a legend, of course.
yeah.
Yeah, but then again, who knows?
Wait, you did or you want to?
I want to.
Yeah,
Love
I
to.
do too.
Me 3.
Yeah, why not?
You know, so
Clint, if you're watching, and we know you are.
So who knows? Who
Yeah.
knows? But then again, one never knows what's going to happen. You know? So one
that's
never
for
knows,
sure.
you know. And but like you mentioned, you know, there's some good directors. Wolfgang Peterson, who passed away, done a couple of movies with Wolfgang Peterson.
Oh, yeah.
I did
Yeah,
NeverEnding
yeah.
Story with him and Enemy Mine, you know. So that's another great director, you know, was, you know, God bless him, you know, and yeah.
NeverEnding Story, that was a classic.
Yes, that's 1980.
80s, something?
80s, yeah. We were filming in Munich, 79, 80. I think the movie came out in 82 or 83. And talking about NeverEnding Story,
Doesn't seem that long ago, but yeah.
they did another version of it which wasn't that good. But I think Disney has got the rights to it, and I think the guy to do the screenplay, to direct, will be J.J. Abrams.
Yeah, he's a great storyteller.
Yeah.
So J.J., if you're doing NeverEnding Story, make sure.
Call my agent.
No, call me.
Call me. Yeah, call me direct.
I'm
that's
curious
great.
too, going back to Willy Wonka, what was it like working with Johnny Depp? What's Johnny Depp like?
Johnny is an amazing actor. He always said to me, he wants to be a rock star. I said, you're a rock star. He said, no. I mean a rock star. He's a great singer.
Yeah.
Great
He's a really great guitar player.
great, you know. And then they got a band called Hollywood Vampires. And they play, you know, I mean, amazing, you know.
Did you see him perform? Have you seen him
Oh,
perform?
yeah. It's absolutely, you know. I was talking to somebody. I think he just did something with Ian McKellen in London. I think their Christmas Carol, something they filmed there.
Oh, cool.
You know, and Christmas is coming soon. Probably they filmed that. And Johnny, I just saw Johnny about a couple of years ago in Paris. And he always wants to direct. And he directed a movie called Modi.
Oh, I didn't know that. What was it called?
Modi. He's an artist and all that. They invited me on the premiere, but I couldn't go due to other commitments. But great director. Great, you know. I mean, he said he wants to direct. He doesn't want to be in front of the camera. He wants to be behind the camera.
Interesting.
Oh, really?
So that's it, you know. But who knows? You know, but good luck, Johnny. So,
Yeah. Yeah, we're not worried about him. I think he's going to be doing just fine.
of course,
Him
he's
and
doing
Clint Eastwood. I think we should get them both on the podcast. That would be all right. Oh, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you done much voiceover?
I did a couple of voiceovers, but
Because you have a very unique voice.
I know, we'll see if you got some agents listening, you know, they want me to do voiceover, I'll do voiceover. But matter of fact, I was just talking to somebody yesterday and he was asking me, I can get you the voiceover agents and you'll be good for the voiceovers, especially for the video games
Yeah.
and all that. So let's see, I mean, if that happens, great. If it doesn't happen, still great.
Yeah. A little less great.
No, but I mean, it doesn't matter. You
Sure,
know,
absolutely.
Well,
Well, I think that's a pretty healthy attitude.
I'm sure it'll happen, you know, by talking to him, because we're going to sit and talk and see what happens, you know, and maybe do the voiceovers for video games and voiceover for the cartoons like you've done.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not as talented as you are of the voiceovers.
Well, that's okay. I don't have any on-camera credits, so you're doing fine.
Yeah, so
Yeah. Well, did you always know that you were going to be doing this? I mean,
yes, I when I was a kid, I always wanted to be an actor. And I don't know how. Nobody's done in the family. You know, I'm the first one.
Yeah.
And they're
yeah.
telling me that I'm crazy to get into this business.
Yes.
But
I
if
think
you
I
don't take
remember.
chances, if you don't follow your dreams, your heart, you know, thanks to the family, you know, and it was tough to start with. But
Did your family support you in doing it?
oh yes, 100% they did. Yes.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
You know, so, yeah.
Do you have a lot of siblings?
Yes, 6 of us, including myself, you know, and lost my elder brother, lost my elder sister, lost my mom and dad. But we all have to go one day. We're all standing in a line and waiting.
Yes,
You
we
know?
yes we
so
are.
that's what it is about, you know. So,
Yeah.
you know what they say, life is this short. You never know how to breathe from here to there. Make the most of it.
Yeah.
Be nice. One has
Yeah.
got nothing to lose.
Yeah, that's a good philosophy.
Yeah.
Do unto others before they do unto you. Or wait, something like that anyway.
Yeah, but the thing is, you know, I mean, you know, people, you know, and I'm not perfect. I'm still learning. You know, and
Oh,
you know, so still learn.
yeah,
A lot
yeah.
to learn, you know.
Yeah, it's still. Were you always in a lot of plays as a kid, or I'm often curious. When did you get the bug, so to speak?
I don't know. I mean, I did plays in the school and all that stuff.
Did you?
Yeah, I did, you know, but I wasn't that good either. So, yeah. So
Well, you've certainly gotten better then, huh?
but you know, when your mind says you got to do, you got to do. Mm-hmm. It's the passion, the determination, and all that. Mm-hmm. One has to have that, you know.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Yeah, if you don't, you know, otherwise, you know, you can say, oh, I want to be an actor. Oh, I want to do this. I want to do that, you know. But it's easier than said. But I'm glad
Yeah.
that I did what I'm doing.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, I want to do more. More, yes, I want to.
Yeah. Same here.
Yeah. I
Well,
want to
you're here
produce-
today, so that's
I want to
a little
produce,
more.
Yeah, I want to produce movies. I don't want to direct because I don't know anything about it, you know, and loads of screenplays that I have developed through a friend of mine that they've written, and let's see what happens. Another thing is I want to do animation, you know, and let's see if that happens. A friend of mine wrote an animation, and it's in the works. Let's see what happens, you know. You see, the studios have got a tendency not to touch the new product. And the reason being they don't want to take any chances. That's why you keep seeing sequels, prequels, and everything.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And that's what it is.
Sure.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, we were just at the Saturn Awards the other day,
Yeah.
and James Cameron was talking about that same thing that you're mentioning. You know, these studios fear to, you know, touch anything that's not already an IP. You know, that's everybody knows already. I mean, you see every Star Wars spin-off under the sun, and you know, we got Toy Story 5 coming out, and you know, like Fast and the Furious 20. You know, they want to stick to those main. But the point he was making was that people also just need to, like you're saying, also just need to go out and make their own stuff. You know, the fans, the fans of movies, you know, the people who are passionate about it, they'll gravitate towards a good story.
Yeah.
But you have to, in order to tell that good story, you have to be passionate about it, I think is what you're saying as well.
Exactly, that's what it is. You know, it has to be original. If you find the originality, original stuff, and that's the reason studios doesn't want to touch. They don't know where it's going to go.
Yeah, that's right.
What's going to happen?
Yeah.
You know, Tim always said to me, animation is the way to go.
Interesting.
Yeah, well,
So
I
you
agree.
can't go wrong with animation.
I agree. Well, that's it for me. You know,
Yeah.
I've done X amount of movie trailers and a lot of TV commercials, radio commercials, but mostly animation. You know, and I mean, I knew I was going to do it many, many, many years ago. I was like 5 years old. And I said, okay, I'm going to do that.
You know, he's the only director that's done animation and features.
Interesting. I never thought about that.
He's the only director that's done animation and features.
And who?
Tim Burton.
Tim Burton. Animation and features. You know, he's done, I mean, I remember he's doing a feature and an animation together. He's done 3 times. I said to him, man, what are you trying to do? And he said, no, listen to you, I'm not going to do no more. I'm going to do one. You know, I said, you can do, you know, animation. You don't have to do animation and feature together. You know, and that's what he's done 3 times.
Yeah.
Yes. So that's the only director that's animation and features.
I never even realized that. I love Tim Burton as a director,
Steven
too.
Spielberg does.
Spielberg?
I don't think so he's done animation.
Well, he did a movie, Balto.
Balto?
Did he?
Uh-huh.
What?
Yeah.
You proved me wrong.
No, but look, it has. You have to go all the way to Steven Spielberg to find somebody else. It's not a crowded house.
Not at all.
You know, it's a very small club of people that can make that statement. That's for sure.
What was it about animation that drew you in, Jim? I know we've talked about numerous times how you knew you were going to do it when you were 5, but what specifically animation that called your name?
Boy, you know, I just thought it was cool because you didn't have to look like the character of any given character that you wanted. You know, in fact I played many. One of my first jobs was Goliath, as in David and Goliath.
Yeah.
So
Why didn't you call me? I could have been a Goliath.
you could have,
and you could have been a David.
Yeah, that's right. And I went out there and got myself killed in my first job. So I could say I killed it, but they killed me. So, but yeah, and I just knew I was there. I just never wanted to turn back.
So is it fair to say like the freedom of imagination almost? You can be so many different characters. That's the freeing part about animation.
Well, I think
what called to you, I guess.
Absolutely, because you know you could you could be Goliath, or you could be David, or you could be Paramecium. You could be a mouse. You know, I'm sure I've been a mouse a few times. Probably, I'm definitely a cat. Pete the cat and cat dog, and I've played all manner of critters, and you don't have to sit around in makeup all day. That's not bad.
But that's a talent. That's a
Sitting
talent.
around in makeup all day?
No, not makeup. You know, like they learn to do the voices, different voices, the different creatures, different voices. Now that's a talent, isn't it? Yeah.
I think so. Yeah, so far.
Yeah.
As long as everybody else thinks so. But yeah, absolutely. Like my friend Frank Welker, he does regular voices and everything too, but he's got a range of animal sounds that you can't even believe. And I mean, if it's the kind of thing that if you tell people, what are you going to do when you grow up? Well, I think I'll be a lion. I'll sound like a giant man-eating dog. Probably a werewolf or two. Yeah, definitely a werewolf. And tigers. I'm a pretty good tiger in barking. And you'd think that he was nuts. But he's also a very gifted, talented guy who is all of those things. So it's a career path that's not very obvious. It's not like a doctor, lawyer, Indian chief, whatever, fill in the blank, right? But if you're good at it and you can get somebody to pay you, boom.
But you do different voices, different accents, yeah?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I do
yeah.
Critters Are Us. I'm Winnie the Pooh and Tigger too, you know, because Tiggers do a lot of bouncing. And so, yeah, I get a kick out of it, you know, and I get a kick out of it because other people get such a kick out of it, you know. When we do these conventions, I've said it before, you know, a lot of times a little one or their mom will inevitably end up crying. Oh, you know, I feel like you raised me, Winnie the Pooh, and I go, well, as long as I didn't mess you up. And it was the sweetest honey.
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
so, but, you know, you do one Winnie the Pooh, make somebody happy, and then you can go back to being a jerk for the rest of the day. You're clear. Yeah.